Hello everyone, this is Jean-François Tremblay, or JF Tremblay if you prefer. Here is my first impressions video of Titan Isles, and my first impressions are extremely positive. If you're looking for a good game to play solo or in co-op with your friends, Titan Isles is the game for you. It comes out on February 24, 2026, and it will cost $25 American dollars or euros. It's already available on other platforms like PC and Quest, and the game will be cross-play, cross-platform, so you'll be able to play with everyone on any headset. In Titan Isles, you play a character who wakes up at the beginning after being in stasis for a while. He doesn't know what happened on his planet. Planet has been invaded by titans, giant robot-like creatures that have taken control of everything. So you have to discover what happened and face these titans and their small hordes of robots. It's a game where you have a central hub that gives you missions. For each mission, you have to go through different levels, different stages filled with tons and tons of enemies, all the way to a final boss. You'll have about 8 missions like that, each with a final boss, and then one big final boss at the end of the game. After each mission, you return to your central hub and you can decide to continue the game either solo or with your friends. And in that regard, it reminds me of Into Black, because you complete your mission up to the final confrontation, and then you come back to the central hub and decide, do I continue alone or with my friends? You can play the campaign entirely solo or alternate between solo and multiplayer and so on. Now, I know some of you are going to say it's not the most beautiful game, it's not the most eye-catching game on YouTube. That's true, I agree. It's not a realistic game like Hitman or Resident Evil, but what the studio, Cytec Games, has managed to do over the years with its games, Windlands and Windlands 2, and now this one, which is basically Windlands 3 with some improvements, they became experts in freedom of movement, in letting you do almost anything you want in these environments. You can jump everywhere, run on walls, grapple with hooks, launch yourself into the air with a jetpack. The freedom is incredible. And to me, that's what I love in VR, more than anything. Freedom of movement before graphics, before realism, before anything else. Here you have incredible, gigantic, even gargantuan spaces. You explore every nooks and crannies because there are collectibles to find. In each level you have different routes. At the start of a mission you choose your path. Each route has different collectibles. So the game can be replayed multiple times. You'll take different paths and discover new places you've never seen. It's always the same boss at the end of each mission, but the route is different. If you want to fully complete the game and find all the collectibles, you're in for a very long time. Unlike Windlands and Windlands 2, here you have 4 character classes. In Windlands, you moved with grappling hooks and used a bow. That class is still here, but you also have 3 others. The class I upgraded during my test is Blink. It's a class focused on jumping everywhere. Movement through jumping is emphasized, and your weapons are some sort of disc that you can throw. There's a character called Goliath, who has a shield and throws green slime-like projectiles that explode. He can move using small boosters on his wrist that work a bit like a jetpack. Then there's the Storm class, which also has a jetpack and a shotgun in its hands. I was able to test the game in multiplayer with my friends, my Australian friend Game Cato, and my French friends Bedri and Mike. I'll put links to everyone's channels in the description. Each of us picked different classes, and it became complementary, especially in boss fights. You attack different parts of the boss. Let's say I'll focus on the legs, while someone else attacks higher up, like the head. You communicate with your friends and say, okay, I'll take this part, and you go left, I go right, etc., etc. The fights become coordinated. You're not just shooting randomly, it becomes real teamwork. And speaking of communication, the voice chat is excellent. It's directional voice chat, and the game has a ton of settings. You can play standing or seated, adjust your height, customize everything. Everything is configurable and adjustable. I really love the amount of settings they gave us. It's not that common for games to offer that many options. Even the settings tablet, you can hold it in your hands, adjust its height, move it around like a suitcase. It's just a lot of fun. In the central hub, there's a bar where you can sit with your friends and have a relaxed conversation. At the same bar, there's also a console that lets you access multiplayer minigames, racing challenges, agility challenges, and so on. There's even a dance floor where I had a lot of fun with my friends. It's really a nice social game. I think it truly shines in multiplayer. Solo can be very interesting, and I did levels and bosses solo, and they're really difficult. But in multiplayer, it takes on another dimension. It becomes so enjoyable. Just looking for collectibles can take hours and never gets boring. Everyone goes to their own little corner of the map. Then someone says, "Hey, I found something," or "I think there's something here." And someone else says, "I'll check over there." It becomes shared exploration. I didn't expect that, but it's actually a big part of the game. It depends on each person's playstyle, but we spent a lot of time exploring, and everyone I played with agrees that this game is a real little gem in terms of gameplay. It's just fun, pure big fun. As a bonus, the game is fully compatible with the bHaptics vest. It's natively compatible with it, and the sensations are excellent. Everything is directional. Sometimes I get hit in the back and I feel it. When you use the jetpack and land on the ground, you feel it in your lower back. You feel the landing and all the effects in the vest. It's really, really well done. Of all the games I've tried with the bHaptics suit, this is one of the best. In terms of bugs and issues, I didn't really encounter any major bugs. My friend Bedri told me he had a bug during the end credits, but I didn't experience that. There are some small gaps in the scenery sometimes, not a big deal. You may walk on a mountain and notice a small hole between two rocks and it lets you enter a cave or go under the level. Sometimes the mountains feel a bit loosely connected, but it's not the end of the world. Like I said, it's not the most visually stunning game. The blacks aren't as deep as Into Black, let's say. It reminds me a lot of Into Black in its gameplay and co-op structure, but it's not as dark visually. Sometimes it's a bit grayish, and maybe there's a bit of Mura, but the real strength is the movement, the freedom, and the fun of playing with friends. Or solo as well. The bosses are difficult. Finding collectibles isn't easy. The game doesn't treat you like an idiot. It makes you search. You really have to explore every little corner. It took time to find certain areas, and I still haven't found everything. As I said, the bosses are very challenging, especially solo, but overall it's a very good game. It's challenging, it's fun, and you'll get hours and hours and hours of gameplay. For $25, I think it's a very good price. It's worth it. So that was my first impressions video. I'll give you a more complete review when the game officially releases. I hope you enjoyed this, and let me know what you think in the comments. I'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Maybe I should think about getting some, you know.
Oh.